Hello again. Welcome back. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the much beloved, often celebrated Khantehnt Seasonal Anime Podcast. The time is winter 2021. It's me, BGE. We've got Digi, as always.
Yo.
We've got the illustrious, the celebrated, the devious Jack and Core tag team duo.
Yo. How you guys doing?
Howdy.
I ask you one thing. Do you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Don't answer that. Moving on, we've also got a famous, legendary individual we've been trying to get on the show for quite a while, and he finally had time. Hiding in public. What's up, dog? Welcome.
I'm great. I'm wonderful. Got a whole my
I
broccoli.
didn't ask if you'll listen to the questions, Hiding. I didn't ask how you're doing. But thank you for ruining this whole operation. All right, hey dog, thanks for joining. Good to see you. Now, I've been reliably informed by you that very soon Attack on Titan will break me.
Yes.
And I just want to know, is that a personal threat?
Yes. It hasn't been adapted yet, so it'll probably be like toward the end of final season. We're at like chapter 106. That's what's going to be adapted on like this last Sunday. 1617. This is like 119 to 123. That section, literally, like I was listening to the third ED, the season 2 ending, and just listening to it on loop while reading it, and just fucking crying or freaking crying. I was crying. It was awesome.
You hear that? Grown men are not afraid to cry, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind as we break into our seasonal anime coverage.
Oh, that'll be
all right, hey, reminder for everybody out there. This is part 1. I don't want to see a single fucking comment about, where's the show that I wanted to see? I'm telling you right now, it's in part 2. Don't bitch and moan. Just go click on part 2 if the show you want to see isn't in the description. I know you're all here to hear us talk about Red Doe of Healer or whatever it's called. That's next episode, god damn it. Do not comment asking about that or your mother will die in her sleep tonight. Okay, thank you. Indulge me, everyone. 14 episodes coming up. Check the description. Skip to Timecodes if you want to hear about them. That being said, let's get right into it. First show that we will be discussing is, what is it called? Mushoku Tensei Isekai Ittara Honki Dasu.
Honki Dasu.
What show is this again? Does anyone remember? Right.
Reincarnate.
The little boy.
It's the good
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Hiding. Please tell us about this show if you would. What happens in this show?
So I don't like Isekai at all. I don't think I finished an Isekai since like second season.
This wasn't the
of
season for
Konosuba.
you then, clearly. Yeah.
And yeah, but it was. I really liked it actually. I think this. I told Core this after I watched the second episode, but I think that this might be like the first Isekai I end up finishing, like in years.
Okay, what is it about it that's so intriguing to you exactly?
I really like the shift in art style between like the actual world and then himself there, and the fact that it goes back to his narrative and his past and integrates that actively into the story rather than I'm sure in school and then he dies and then you never hear about it ever again. It's just I'm in the world now.
You said he was in school. Wasn't he? I believe it was 34 years old,
yeah,
if I remember correctly.
I'm saying like for the generic isekai, it's like, I'm going to school, I get hit by a truck, and then they never talk about it again. But in this one, it's like they give like he's a NEET, obviously, but then they give like context for that, I guess, like going into episode 2 and stuff, and they actually show like traumatic like kind of visions within this new world of the old world and him trying to overcome that. I'm not sure how that's going to continue being a part of the narrative, but I just really like that. I like that they didn't just, he's dead, that's right, never talk about his old life again. I hate whenever they do that. So I don't know. That's my thing.
The translation for the title is something along the lines of jobless reincarnation. I will seriously try if I go to another world. And like we were saying, this guy's like 34 years old. So the parents that he's born as an actual baby coming out of the womb of his mother, and he has to it's a more grounded take. He has to learn the language and all that stuff. But he has the mind of a 34-year-old man the entire time. And the first thing he says is like, oh, God, my hot parents are so much younger than me. Jesus Christ, it makes me fucking self-conscious. As he's born to these two people. So it's got a more grounded take. And hearing his inner monologue of I don't know, like him being like a full-grown man in a baby's body and being like, okay, I really fucked up my last life. I didn't get to see episode 2, so I don't know what happens there. But just being like, I'm going to just actually apply myself in this world. I found myself rooting for the guy pretty heavily, since he does seem like he's gonna make a better go of it this time, and that's always nice to see when a down and out guy gets a second chance.
I found this show like a pretty surprising one, as someone who also is not the biggest fan of most isekai in general, especially like the game isekai, the one where they get teleported to another world, and then it's the exact same boring, asinine video game logic system that's in like a million other shows. Very uninteresting. So it already it already was like mildly compelling just on the basis of like not doing that. And then the show is actually kind of funny. Like, it made me laugh when his parents start fucking really loudly. I was like, that's kind of funny.
Easy best part.
First comment being born is, God damn, my mom is sexy, and I would love to have sex with my own mother. I think we can all relate to that feeling on some level.
So this show, like, it's part of what I would consider a emerging or emergent second genre of isekai, of like specifically reincarnated with my old brain still in my head. Like, like it used to be just you got wholesale teleported. Now it's like you get reborn as somebody else. Because, like, I guess the escapism wasn't strong enough of like, well, like, why do I still have to be me? I should at least be able to also respec my body if I'm going to another.
There's, I think, part of the isekai fantasy is just like getting a total do-over, and this is like an even deeper do-over of like, okay, like, if your teleport is like this guy, I think they said he was like really overweight before he died, so he's like a fat, gross old man or whatever.
The funny thing about this,
me.
Like, this sort of take on it, I think, has come more from, like, a lot of the shoujo isekai, like the ones with female protagonists, tend to be reincarnation stories where the girl just, like, wakes up in someone else's brain in, like, an isekai. Like, that was the case in, the Villainess, Reborn as a Villainess, and Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Yeah. Bookworm.
This first episode is by far the most similar to Ascendance of a Bookworm, because they both kind of are, like, wake up in child's body, get raised by parents for a while, thinking about old world, read books. That's something a kid shouldn't be able to do. So, like, I did find this to be kind of boilerplate insofar as that, like, I have already seen another show that did this exact same thing, but the difference with that one was it was more fixated on books and the world building element of this idea that books are like super rare and valuable, which is also true in this story. But this is more focused on the idea that this kid is super good at spells and figuring out how spells work. And I'm assuming that it's probably couched in programming a lot, because like there's this problem solving element of him having to figure out like which order of elements to do a spell, where it's like you have to figure out the target and then the exact like location, how much force you want to apply, all that, and like do them in a certain order in order for the spell to work. So like I would imagine we'll get a lot of depth on this magic system as this show goes along. But the best thing about this episode to me was the part where the guy says of the lolly. Here, I took a screen cap so we can put this in the show.
Sure.
Of him saying, "Lolly, scornful gaze, and unsociable, 3 traits that equal perfection."
And then says like, "I want to marry her" or something. Yeah, no,
right.
Man of taste.
Horny
The girl was cute. I looked through episode 2. I didn't watch it, but I saw that it basically is like he completes his training with her. So this seems like a very slow kind of slice of lifey, meditative, just like, hey, this guy has started life over, and now life's pretty okay. So
hey, that show from last season, that was another isekai, or maybe it was 2 seasons ago. What was the one of like the guy who controls the slimes? Is that the one with like literally the same premise
that was
here
from
of him
last
also?
Season. Yeah.
He's just like enjoying life in a new world where he's got like new buffs and stuff. This seems similar. The guy just wants to like be happy, which he was not particularly in his old life, I guess, and enjoy now that there's magic and stuff.
I guess I'm almost torn on this show, just because on the one hand I feel like it is so straightforward that that's actually its most positive trait, is that like it's extremely clear what the character like can do, where he is, and like that the nature of the story is just make progress, grow up, get strong, find a purpose eventually, and succeed at that. Whereas like, a lot of these other shows, like that slime one that you mentioned, like that one was very different in a way that made it weird and kind of hard to understand.
I mean, that show sucked, mostly. Oh shit, I was gonna say something else about. Fuck, I can't remember. Anyway, this was decent.
Okay, I couldn't see watching more of it.
It's good. It's bookworm, but good because like.
I remember now. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that I love a good show that gets into like any kind of good mechanical discussion of like the magic system, but. And here in episode 1, probably episode 2, which I didn't watch, I'm sure we'll get more of that. But anime has this terrible habit, which I can't blame it for at all, that as a medium, it inevitably the narrative drifts further and further away from like technical appreciation. Because like, how's an anime going to incorporate like stats or how good a chant he did or how much energy he put in? You can do that in something like a visual novel, or best possible version is a video game where everything's like numerically determined. But in anime, they always drift away from that. So I can't say this one I have super high expectations for, even though it is very pretty to watch. And the moment where he did the big water spell and blew the side out of his house, and his mom's reaction of delight at seeing her son being like a god level mage was a big laugh and a big goof, and I did like that.
There's some charm in this.
Show.
I also like when the parents fight, and then some like, I don't know, maid or whatever attendant says like, oh, you could just do both things, and then like she walks across the screen and then they're both hugging. Like,
yeah.
I see it. I've seen this in real life.
Indeed,
really charming.
Or when the maid
couple.
the maid wants to say, guys, employers, your son has just been staring at my tits his entire life since he was born. I think he's a perverted creep. But you see, she doesn't want to get fired, so she doesn't say that shit. Another good laugh. Okay. Anyway, the show is good. You give it a shot. I don't know. Any further thoughts?
You go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think that, like, for me, the key factor and the reason I'll probably watch a few more episodes and see where it takes me is primarily, like, it just has high enough quality production. It's an isekai that is, unironically funny, which is already rare. Not a video game world. Has strong production, good character designs. Roxy is hot as shit, and just generally likable characters and good characterization. So it kind of like just in terms of execution, I think it is much better than a lot of the other shows that are doing similar things to it, which makes me more inclined to watch this iteration.
I'd agree.
Fair. I noticed Studio Bind animated this, who has nothing else credited to them.
It's just
probably like an offshoot or something.
I don't know.
Hopefully that's good for him. I think my passing thought is just I think it really scratches that like self-improvement kick like itch that I have.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like seeing him like age and like work really hard and like it still has time to like just be horny but not ugly. I don't know. I feel like a lot of fan service, they really mess up the fan service by just making it not actually attractive. And but the improvement. Sorry, I got on a horny kick there for a second. I just really like the self-improvement of the character. Like, genuinely, the monologue at the end of episode 2, like, after he overcomes some of his trauma and stuff. Once again, not spoiling anything specific. Genuinely, like, it really touched my heart. I was like, oh, I want this guy to improve. I want this guy to work hard and live a good life.
What I mainly liked about the show was, like, because I instantly thought of A Sense of a Bookworm also, which we watched on Jack and Core. You can check it out now, but... it's like in A Sense of a Bookworm, the character is put into this child's body, and then it's never really fully presented which like brain it's using. Is it like the past person's brain or like the new child brain? In this show, they just straight up present like, yeah, this is the 34-year-old man controlling this child. And I just, as like a person who's watched so much bad isekai, I just appreciated how direct and like straightforward the premise was. So I could like fully enjoy the horniness of it. So it was a good time.
Indeed. Okay, there you go. I'm sure you can derive from that what you will. Now, speaking of totally original, premises from start to finish. Kumo desu ka nanika, spider isekai. Core, tell us about it.
So have you ever heard of a show by the name of Isekai Slime?
That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Yeah. Okay, so
slimy spider.
Just picture in your mind that show, but instead of being well produced and visually creative, it is in CG, and they're a spider.
Yeah.
There you go. That is the show.
Yuck, man.
It was horrible. The CG specifically.
I didn't mind the CG so much. The character design of the spider is like, I don't know if I want to watch a whole show of this spider like running around doing shit. But like this is an odd one where I feel like this is a light novel that never should have been an anime in a way. Like, I mean, aside from the fact that it required them to do this CGI style, like the tone of this anime is like comical to some degree because the girl is like a gyaru, I think. Like she's not. She's like a shut-in, but she has like an over-the-top like the way she talks is like that really
Genki, loud.
Yeah. So, like, she's got that over-the-top way of talking, and, like, the show is kind of, like, funny, I guess, but it's also, like, entirely set in a cave, and she's eating her friends. So it's, like, I don't know, it's got that weird thing that a lot of these isekai have, and even Slime Isekai has this, where it bounces in tone, like, very violently between, like, war scenes and then characters just kind of making jokes. But, like, the way that show does it feels more it feels like it makes more sense because the slime is in this odd position of kind of being like super OP and therefore able to like end conflict in like a single violent splat, but like the violence is not necessarily affecting him personally in those moments where like in this show it's really weird that she just kind of like eats her friend and feels nothing about it seemingly.
Well, you say friend, but it's like she's related to it, but it was already dead, and like spiders do this. I mean that's the thing. This show leans way more into kind of like gross humor and like you're supposed to be horrified at the horrible things that she's experiencing, at least at the beginning. She is not like the OP Rimuru, and I can at least appreciate that it was going for like a different tone of like punished isekai person in like a horrible situation. Whereas I mean Rimuru had like it was all gravy for Rimuru.
Even more so than Slime Isekai. This is actually a lot like the start of Ari Ferreita, where that shows like the guy's in the bottom of a dungeon for a long time, super underpowered. He gets all these like curses on him, which Spider here also does. I do happen to know because I know somebody who read like much further in the manga that like this gets interesting in the way of like the powers that she develops, where because she has like
those
8
taboo and curse powers or something.
Well, I think she develops like 8 different consciousnesses and starts doing all these like weird parallel thought experiments where like she's controlling brains and like like the powers get really crazy, and that's what I've heard is like the main appeal of this story. But like visually it just feels weird to look at this as an anime. Like I can imagine how this should like read, I'm thinking about this same scenery that I'm looking at, and I'm like picturing what it would be like what I would imagine if I was reading this scenario and how that would look a way that makes more sense or something. You know what I mean? Like, I also just hate this generic cave thing. Like
I really hate
it's
the
literally
isekai where it's
slime.
like it starts off and you're like, all right, let's spend 24 minutes in a dark room, like visually thrilling.
I love Attack on
done
Titan.
well. I don't. I look at the poster. I'm on Mal looking at the poster, and like I see the cute spider design and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. I could like if it was animated in the same way that Slime was, with like gorgeous slime, shiny animation. I'd be like, yeah, okay, this is cool, but it looks like the fucking, on purpose, like the Tachikomas from like the 2001 Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
It looks worse than the Tachikomas, actually.
They do look worse than the I love the Tachikomas, but like they're supposed to be weird robot things. This is like your main character who's supposed to, be fun to look at. And her art of the character is really nice. I mean, I fucking hate CG because by default it's not good and it's blended into the environments in ugly ways a lot of the time, like the big ugly frog. But you know what? It did create a powerful juxtaposition about the horrible CG world going on in the cave versus at the end of episode 1 when we cut to like all the rest of the classmates who also seemingly died or were isekai'd into the world as like the beautiful people in nice animation, beautiful character designs as these, anime chosen ones, further creating a dichotomy of how punished our main character girl is versus all these lucky ones who get to be the
yeah,
main
in that
character
case, it's
type
also
people.
like Ari Feretta, because in that show as well, the
Yeah.
whole
Oh,
class is isekai'd.
What's with this isekai, man? They don't give us any backstory on any of the characters. It's like 5 seconds of this weird filter over.
At this
Yeah,
point,
I
they
forgot
class
about
to
that.
hurt my
Like
eyes.
it's literally like 50 seconds, and they don't even establish who the main character is in those 50 seconds.
Like no one talks.
And then-
True.
Don't even
It's-
see
I think
I
it
was
was-
wondering who she was.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the opening scene is in first person or something, and that's why it's like
Something
that.
like that.
Weird.
Is that why
I
it looks
think
really weird?
I was confused too, but I think it's in first person, and that it's so that like you wouldn't see her until she's a spider.
Imagine if through your own eyes all you saw was a bad VHS filter. Oh man.
No.
That's already
really
punishment enough. Well, I don't know. Maybe it'll get better. It's got some issues with production.
This
but
just
I
seems
don't
like to me a clear cut case of like read the manga, read the light novel.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The anime just doesn't look good, and like. What would you want out of like this story is so heady and wordy, like it's all in the girl's head. She's constantly
right.
thinking through shit, coming up with powers, all that kind of stuff. Like this is not something that really needed to even be brought to animation, I think, other than to sell more books. I guess.
Money.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's true.
It is
All right, well, there you
hilarious
go,
how much
people.
Crunchyroll's pushing
yeah.
it though. Like anywhere you go
Oh,
on the
are they?
website, if you're on Crunchyroll, they have like the watch. So I'm a spider. So what? Watch
I will
now.
tell
Yeah,
you why.
can we also draw attention to the terrible English localization title? So I'm a spider. So what? That's the.
Yeah.
There's
The
other
extra
like
so
words
is
than
so terrible.
Yeah, get rid of that first so. Just call it I'm a spy. Well, I don't know.
They should have
You
called
could
it
say,
like,
yeah,
I'm a spider, got a
so
problem.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah, it's better.
so
Yeah, I'm a spider. Got a problem. Yeah, get a little character in there. I mean, I guess there's still some.
the two so's makes it so gross on your tongue.
Yeah, I hate
Curse
the double
this
so.
Western tongue. All right.
Oh, and as for that them promoting it so highly on Crunchyroll, recently I had gone to Crunchyroll and sorted stuff by most popular, and it seems like isekai aimed at women are the most popular shows on Crunchyroll. So that would
Yeah.
be my
Really?
assumption as to why they're pushing it so hard. Yeah.
Okay. This does have the
Oh,
rare
probably 'cause
female
of the-
protagonist.
Yeah, it's probably the villainous thing, since that was so big last
Yeah,
year.
that was
Villainous
hugely
was really
popular.
big, and Violet Evergarden, which is not isekai, but
Bookworm is also
popular.
Violet Evergarden.
popular.
Oh, dude, I wish that was an isekai.
I wish it was on Crunchyroll.
All right, let's talk about our next show, Wet Egg Pussy.
Yes!
WEP.
Let's go.
Wonder Egg. I stole that joke from Shabes, so credit to Shabes. Wonder Egg. Oh God, I closed the tab. What the fuck is Wonder Egg Priority? That's the one. How about you, Jack? Tell us about Wonder Egg.
Oh shit. So it's a young girl, and she goes through dreams. She's bullied
Yeah.
as a child, and she goes through.
No,
these
she's not bullied.
Oh
Okay,
no,
she's
her
bullied.
friend was bullied. No, she was bullied.
Oh,
Well, okay, yeah, a little bit
was-
earlier, but
Yeah. So it's this
there's
young
going to go
girl.
around in this show.
You know, she's walking around the park, and then this weird little fly leads her to this Alice in Wonderland-esque portal, which takes her to like the dream world, and she has to meet this person who resembles her dead friend and save her. I don't know. I only watched episode 1, but visually, this is like the best looking show of the season by far. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is
Jesus
the coolest
Christ.
looking show. It was
Designs
totally
are
like
great.
trippy and weird and interesting and not obvious what was going on, but not in a way that made me go, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah,
It was just a little
gives
bit
you
of
time
that.
to
Just
think,
a little
right?
tiny bit of that.
Yeah.
it's slow pace,
Um,
and then just gives you time to think of what's happening, and then it kind of makes
It also
sense,
seems like it might be a Yuri show, so that's
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Could be.
But
pretty sick. Yeah.
I loved this one because of the idea that like the girl's friend seemingly killed herself. She's blaming herself, and her mission is to rescue like 12 girls in her dreams, and if she does that, she at least believes that it will bring her friend back to life.
Yeah, it seems
with the
bad.
implication being that like these 12 girls that she's rescuing are like other girls that have killed themselves that like are waiting for their respective friend to come and do the same to save them.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It has this Madoka Magica-esque air to it, where I feel like it's gonna get crazier. I just keep thinking of the cat from Madoka every time she talks to the fly character, and I'm like, don't do this to her. She's such a cute girl, man. Don't fuck with her. Her friend died. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to see more.
But because the show front loads the tragedy in episode 1, I think it's going to be uphill as opposed to Madoka, which is
I think
a bit of the
probably
opposite
true
direction.
as
I can
well.
hope so.
Like,
I can hope so.
and because like there was another show this season that I do think is going to try to do a Madoka thing and like get really edgy and dark unexpectedly. But yeah, like you said, this one it's already pretty emotionally harrowing. Like the relationship. I think one of the interesting things is that we only see a tiny little bit of what her relationship had been with the girl who killed herself. I think that's what was going on there, right? It was like a flashback.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So like we don't understand any of why she did it. We only see like the moment they met, and when our main girl was like completely antisocial, wanted nothing to do with her. And it's because she has heterochromia, so she always gets bullied for it. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's this great scene where she runs home because the other girl saw her heterochromia, like forgets her fucking bag and her umbrella.
The other girl saw her heterosexuality, and she was so ashamed. She had to run. No one could find her.
Anything but that.
So the other girl comes to her house, and she has this cool, like, I guess it's like an upper bunk, but they've got this like space canopy on it. I just like the idea that even in her bed, she's like chosen to close her bed off from the rest of the room to be like that much more in a deep dark enclosure. Something I used to do when I was young as well, so I get it.
Depression bunker.
But the other girl kind of just comes up and just like lays on the bed with her and starts like touching her foot. So I was like, okay, there's some Yuri going on here. So this also raises the question of like, does the Yuri implication have anything to do with why this girl killed herself? That is also interesting to find out. So I'm excited for this one. It feels like deep and meaningful. I just hope it's well written.
Yeah.
I comment on the show. The production obviously great. The quality of everything is quite high. This show, I'll be the first to shit on it. Baby's first anti-bullying propaganda. Oh my god, I fucking get it. Yes, don't bully people. Every single metaphor was absolutely screaming in your face with exactly what it meant. I was a little bored. I was a little over it, frankly.
See, I was actually thinking this was Baby's first pro-bullying propaganda, because I want to have a trippy kind of crazy world, so I need to bully more people until eventually my world is fantastical.
I need to convince a friend of mine to kill themselves so I can have a fun adventure time. Right, okay. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Okay, it wasn't bad. I'm exaggerating a little bit.
I mean, if anything, I would argue this is more anti-suicide than anti-bullying. I mean, that's definitely there, but it seems like it's going to be more about,
assumingly. I don't know. We haven't seen it. The events leading up.
Yeah, but it's less about the bullies and more about the person getting bullied and like their sort of perspective on things.
Yeah, because we don't even see.
But consider the struggle of the main character, bullied. Though. Like the main character's whole thing is like, oh my god, wow, the amazing metaphorical. What could a see no evil mean? What? I'm trying to strain my fucking brain. What could it mean? So she like overlooked when a friend was getting bullied, got it, understood, and then a friend killed herself because she was bullied because our character didn't put herself out there enough to protect her. Look, I get it. I don't dislike it, and it all looks very good. I just feel like I know every single thing the show is going to say.
That's probably
so I
true.
feel like I don't even need to watch it. That's how I feel.
That would be my biggest concern, would be that, like, I mean, it's fine if everything the show says is something you've heard before, but it's all good. It's all done well.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's up to the execution, really.
But like when you've got so much writing on the fact that it is like mysterious and weird, then it's like, the answers have to be better to make up for the time you had to wait for the answers. You know what I mean?
You see, that's the thing. When a show leans into mystery or dreams and stuff, there's a higher level of expectation of like, ooh, it's going to be, a little profound, a little intriguing. And I'm just saying, I feel like it's very clear as to what it means. So I'm like, this is good. And I like how it's being presented. But
I don't necessarily think it's trying to be obtuse. I think more of the reason, and this why I like stuff that leans more into realism in general, is it's more about visualizing a specific kind of emotion in the like way in which it feels rather than the way it is literally. So like the entire sequence when like she finally overcomes some of her like self-doubt and like inability
she does the
to
big
act
leap and stuff
in like the climax of the first episode, and like she literally jumps off the building, like fucking obliterates this monster, and like while the music is like exploding and it's like super big and dramatic, like I think it's more about like visualizing the themes than it is necessarily about being like super like mysterious about what the themes themselves are. I mean, obviously there's a bit of mystery to the way in which this world functions and what like the motivations behind like the creature
maybe I'm being overly
stuff
cynical,
but,
and it's possible this could be a fantastic show, and I'm just being overly critical.
I also think there's a lot of
goes.
potential for like other ideas to be explored, just based on the fact that our main character is not the only character. There's like there is like from the cover art like going to be a much broader cast, so I think there's a lot of potential that they're going to explore different ideas and like things relating to suicide through those characters.
Well, there you go.
All right, Nate,
breakdown.
Tell us about SK8 the Infinity then.
Oh my God! Imagine for a moment, if you will, what if you had a skateboard? Just picture what your life would be like. Like, how different would everything be if you were on a skateboard
Everything
right
would
now?
change.
I gotta get on my
Everything
skateboard
would
real quick.
change. What if you skated to infinity and beyond? Because this show is, guys. Okay, I don't know if you know this. If you take the number 8 and you turn it on its side, I know. Picture this.
What?
Strain your mental faculties. It almost looks like an infinity sign.
Oh my God, dude.
I'm
Wait.
sorry to blow your mind. I apologize for the
shit.
mental damage this is doing. SK8 the Infinity, ladies and gentlemen, is about a guy who skates real good, and his friend, an exchange student, who comes and learns about the joys of also skating real good. And best thing I can say about the show, it did make me want to go skateboard, which I didn't do because I was busy, but I'll probably go do it because it looked cool, as these kind of like hype machine shows do. But there was, whatever. There's no point describing the plot. A guy likes to skateboard. He works in a skate shop. A guy comes to town. He also learns about skateboarding. But whoa, brain blast. That guy never skateboarded in his life, but he did snowboard.
Oh, dude, I was
so
screaming.
It's like,
oh my God.
What?
Some
Dude.
Canadian representation.
Canadian
Is anyone here
representation,
Canadian?
man.
Are any
Finally.
listeners or are any of you guys Canadian?
I'm
Jack
Canadian.
is-
I was
Jack's
screaming,
Canadian.
man. I'm like, let's go. He's snowboarding.
I thought so.
I was so proud of my boy in the
See-
show. Finally getting some representation, but
I was talking to someone, and I was like, is Jack Canadian? I think Jack's Canadian, because I gotta say, this must resonate with you, Jack. The best part of the episode, by far, was at the end of episode 1, the preview, like the little, what do you call it, the little omake or whatever at the end, where they're just talking about their character and stuff, and the hyper Japanese Okinawan guy is like, whoa, man, you're Canadian. That's so cool. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? And the guy's, he's like the Sasuke cool guy. He's answering all these questions. And he's like, what's your catchphrase?
Sorry.
And of course, the Canadian's catchphrase was, sorry. Sorry. Literally. His catchphrase is
oh
the
my
words.
God.
I was also gonna bring that up to
Absolutely
Jack.
Does that resonate with you, Jack?
I was crying when he said that. I was finally some representation in the anime. I was proud, but like this one
Also
part that
sorry at the same time.
it's stuck in my brain because the Canadian guy is cooking an omelet for his mother in the show, and
Right.
he's using chopsticks to flip the omelet. So as a Canadian, I was just kind of offended that he was using chopsticks to flip an omelet. I cook many omelets in my day, and I don't use chopsticks, and I was just kind of like, what's happening here? So I think all the rest of the representation is 10 out of 10, but get rid of the chopsticks. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
We need Canadian reacts to skate.
Canadian citizen reacts to fucking skate.
Canadian apologizes for his appearance in
Sorry.
skate. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, watch it if you kind of enjoy pretty anime boys skating.
It's
I don't
bullshit.
think there's really anything more to be said.
It's really
It's just a
stupid.
lot of fun. Like, it's just so goofy and stupid. And it has so much personality.
I was hoping I would feel that way at first because the animation's pretty good in this, and like
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, there's like this is like they tried to make it look like a show, and then
You know who
I got
animated
like
this?
a few more minutes. It's Studio Bones, I believe.
Studio fucking Bones said, all right, guys, we're done with Cowboy Bebop. We're done with Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
What's our next challenge, guys? What do we got on deck? SK8 the Infinity.
Technically, Bones didn't
And they've been working on it for the last 10 years. Not a single thing from Bones has come out since Fullmetal Alchemist. They've only been dumping everything into Skate.
Wait, did you just say that they didn't make Cowboy Bebop? Because it's an
mean-
offshoot goddamn company. It's the same
Sure.
goddamn people, and they made the fucking movie. So don't give me this technical bullshit.
Sure, fair.
Okay,
But yeah, no, I mean, like, they've done a few of these. Like, it kind of reminded me of Show by Rock or something like that. Just
Yeah, same
You know,
kind of thing.
applying more animation and like hype to one of these shows to make it actually kind of watchable, except for the fact that I just don't like this type of show at all. So
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah, I was really
I don't like
surprised
shows-
how good it was.
Really? Yeah.
God, I love
Yeah,
that
I
show.
thought it was going to be
quality's there,
horrible.
the
I was
animation.
like, this looks like the worst thing ever. And then people kept saying it was good. And then I was like, yeah, this is like competently made. This is I could see
Competently
the
made.
type of
Yeah,
person
sure.
who would love this. Like,
yeah.
It's me, man. Holy shit. Yeah, no,
If you love skateboarding, if you're Jack or Canadian, this is the show for you.
It also helps that it has a fucking banger soundtrack. I got to give a shout out to my man Ryo Takahashi. This man, he's in Void Chords, who do like some anime openings, but like he's done a soundtrack to a lot of shows, but like most of them are really bad shows, but the soundtrack is amazing. He did the soundtrack to Ari Ferretta, if you've seen that, which has like one of the most unnecessarily good soundtracks I've ever seen for the
I do
production
remember
of that show.
That being the one thing that wasn't shit about
Yeah. So I'm glad to see him working on something that is like pretty solid production.
I mean, this will have its audience, I guess, of
women
Fujos and
yeah,
people who
like,
like
women and me.
gay men.
That's it.
yeah, that's right.
That's our group.
or men who like gay men. You know.
Indeed.
All right,
Okay,
I want to tell
that's
you
about Skate.
I want to
Yeah.
talk about Jaku-Chara Tomozaki-kun. This could potentially be one of the most important anime of all time.
It's true.
This is the anti rental girlfriend. It's like in every way the opposite of the types of shows. Nate, I have to assume that you enjoyed this because it's literally flying in the face of everything you hate about the shows you hate.
You couldn't be more right, Digi. I marked this down as Nate, do one of your signature rants about this
please,
show because
please,
yes,
dude.
this is the show. Bottom tier character Tomozaki. This is single-handedly fighting against the forces of degeneracy and the denigration
let me set
of
the
proud
stage
men
for
and women
everybody.
worldwide.
So-
please.
In this show, they have Smash. They don't call it that, but it's Smash.
It's
Attack,
Smash.
Attack family instead
Tac
of Smash
Fam.
Bros.
Yeah, Tac Fam.
Brilliant.
It's
Yeah.
Smash,
Such a
but
good
like
name.
with like online that's usable.
yeah,
That's what
true.
I was saying.
Important
Because they're
distinction.
playing like
So-
Ultimate, but that's just not playable. It was weird.
First of all, I was shocked that Smash is in anime because it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
Street Fighter. Every time they do fighting games, except for in Genshiken when they had Guilty Gear, it's almost always Street Fighter. So thank God Smash made it into anime as Tac Fam, and the main character is this loser, otaku, typical protagonist of one of these shows who's like, oh, I'm really good at fighting games, or particularly he's really good at Tac Fam. He's like the best in Japan. It's his only pride in life, and he considers it a god tier game. And it starts with him playing against one of the popular kids in school who heard he was good at it. And he beats this popular kid's ass, and the kid's like, this game sucks, the characters are unbalanced and all this shit. And he's like, fuck you, you're just making up excuses. Well, then He's playing online, and there's a player who's almost good enough to beat him, named No Name. Incidentally, I believe his name is also like Shin something. Like they're both named No Name, just
it's like
one in English, one in Japanese.
Or for like nothing or something. Whatever it is.
Yeah, both their names mean no name. So, so he's almost beaten by this girl. Well, he doesn't know it's a girl at the time, but they're like, come meet up with me. And it turns out it's a popular girl at his school. And she meets him and is immediately deeply disappointed because this player, the only player in the game that she respects, is a fucking loser. And she calls him out on it right away, and he's like, well, fuck you, you're a high-tier character. I'm just like a pathetic bitch baby. And she's like, oh, making up excuses about how the game's unbalanced? That's the last thing a fighting game character should say, bitch! Oh! And then it was, you know, the rest is her
which
trying
draws
to fix
like a
this
parallel
idiot's
to
life.
when he fights, like, when he plays against another popular guy and beats his ass. And the guy is just making excuses, saying, "Oh, the game just sucks. This character, it's imbalanced."
Mm-hmm.
The way he talks
so
about
good.
the real world as a game had me cringing because he says every sentence. He's like, "Oh, life isn't a god tier game," and he just keeps using that same phrase. I was laughing.
What was the specific sentence? It was like if. It was like, if life is a kamige, a god tier game, then the gamer in me wants to try.
Yeah, it was something beautiful like that.
It's beautiful. I feel like I mean, I think like objectively, like if you say gamer like multiple times in a sentence in anime,
Yeah,
like,
I'm a
that
gamer.
is just funny.
It is true.
Like inherent.
Of course correct.
But I think for me, I would watch this whole thing if it was dubbed, because I just feel like as a dubbed anime, this would be like an amazing experience. Like with a really, really shitty dub.
Like for the main character to be like the worst sniveling loser. Like
Yeah.
Exactly.
That would be pretty funny. I love the moment that I knew that this show was like correct and good for the world is that the very first advice that she gives the guy is posture and smile. She's like, 50% of the looking like a normal person is fix your fucking posture and smile more. Talk less, smile more, if you will. And this resonated with me as I have been trying to fix my posture as of late. I have like the worst back in the world from sitting in a chair for 15 straight years. So I've been like doing that thing where you lock your chair in the upwards position and shit, and like really try to rank me on Khantehnt here on the channel. You can see me try to in the latest episodes like sit straighter and straighter and like not look slouchy and smile more. So it's true, these are very important pieces of advice. And like just the fact that she lays out like, look, I'm not like a super hot chick by nature. Like I do makeup, I take care of myself, like I'm a normal fucking person. You are the one who is below normalcy, who has to like, you know, I think that people who are like have no idea how to be normal at all or how to take care of themselves or look good, like I had been for most of my life, just simply have like no concept of what everyone else is doing. You know, like that to even reach a baseline of looking decent, almost everybody has to do something more than nothing. You know, like nobody is just wakes up and is beautiful when they get out of bed. It's like people are putting real effort into doing it. And if you don't understand that, then you will just look at it as like, well, it's the same thing as like with just assuming that anybody who makes a good song is just like talented. It's just like, oh, well, they just can make good music. Like you could, you just gotta, you know, figure out how.
No,
Assuming
this
anybody
anime
who's good at anything is just, they just magically are like that. That's just how things are. Oh, I guess I'm not magically like that. I'm a failure. No. People are often putting so much work in behind the scenes that other people never would understand.
This anime was basically just like, all right, sit down, baby boy, wipe your ass. Like, here is how you talk to a woman. Like,
yes,
you know,
hey, baby boy, let
take
me
a shower, do the bare minimum.
The missions that she gives him at the end of like we're gonna get you a girlfriend by the time you enter third year. You have to talk to 3 girls in the school today. Like I was like, this is fucking perfect. If you are somebody who's watching this show and you feel like the main character, follow the girl's advice. Let her be your waifu who guides you through, because she is totally on point and I love it.
Oh man, I was cringing. But
I understand that. I understand cringing at this, but if I may restate some of this in the way that I was viewing it, this show is waging a war. There are casualties on both sides, but this show is standing up for the values of keeping human beings functioning members of society and preventing them from spiraling into decay. Because this world that we live in that allows people to just fritter away their whole lives feeling nothing but self-pity and resentment for everyone around them is not only bad for other people, it's bad for the people in those situations specifically. You've got a guy here who is like a living legend at this one thing. He has developed a work ethic and positive traits. And if you think about it, it was his gamer skill that set him up. Like in this school where this guy goes, there are probably dozens, maybe like hundreds of other guys who are also like losers like him, who are also in the shadows, who never get the welcome to the NHK-esque girl who shows up out of nowhere and decides to like help you correct your depression and stuff. He gets that because he has achieved excellence at something, and he's like invited to step into a wider world by this girl who, somewhat unrealistically, and you know, you shouldn't expect this in real life, has like decided to make him her project to save her, you know, from himself. But what really grabbed me about this show is that much of the stuff that she tells him and the education that he is informed in episode 1 is just literally exactly the things that I personally did and read about and studied in college when I decided to become a functioning member of society and stop just like but wondering why I wasn't able to hold on to a girlfriend and like why am I not as attractive as I want to be. Not that I'm a 10 out of 10 or anything, you know. Or why aren't I good at all these things that other people are good on? You gotta turn your fucking brain on, Billy. You gotta actually think about what's going on in the world outside of you. I'm sorry that your parents didn't force you to go to fucking summer camp with the other kids and get a head start. I'm sorry that you're not like the richest person in the world and you can just fliff money and attract people to you. Life is about give and take. You have to have things to offer to the people around you in order for them to have any interest in you, because we're alone in this world, baby. You are not going to get an anime girl that waltzes into your life and cures you. So use this fictional story of this anime as a fucking lesson to take whatever inspiration comes to you as a vehicle to improve yourself, because nobody gives a shit about you but you. That's just how it is. Everyone who says otherwise is lying. They want to manipulate you for their benefit specifically. Your parents want you to be better because that would be good for them to talk about at parties. Your friends want you to be cooler so they can use your clout to achieve. But who actually cares about how you feel? Only you. Only you. Nobody else gives a shit. No one in the world, and no one's going to tell you that, but it's true. And this girl is breaking it down exactly the steps necessary in order to achieve social success in this case. And the way she you know, breaks it down as like life is a 10 out of 10 game. It can be, his specific goal is to make life be as satisfying for him as it is for her. Now, that's actually like a terrible goal, because what does that even mean? He can't know what it's like in her head. But just assuming that that's fair.
I like that because it sets us up for the situation where, like, well, how happy is she actually? Like, you know, she assumes that because she's doing everything right that she's happy. But what if we, you know, peel back the layers and, oh, she actually doesn't have any friends because she's a perfectionist about everything, you know?
Well, see, that's the thing. She's setting it up. She has stated herself, like, I love life, and I am great at it. So, like, if there's any, like, tragic backstory, it's at least got to be something that she's already gotten over. Because, you know, maybe she had some trauma early in her life, and it, like, made her realize, oh, if I sit up straight or, like, put on clothes. And this is why I love the scene of her walking into the room, like, after his little pity party, his little, oh, you're shitting on me because, like, I didn't dress up for, like, going out on the town and, like, meeting a friend. And she's just like, bro, there are fucking standards you should meet, right? Like in Japan, there's this idea of politeness, right? This idea of politeness that extends into all these different manners that includes things like don't be a gross, ugly sack of shit when you can do something about it, because that's impolite and just a bad thing to do for the world. If you could just be like keeping your shit together, it is a negligence of duty. It's the sin of acedia. It's one of the forgotten sins in the fucking 7 deadly ones. That's about not doing that which is proper to do. And you need to fight against that sin, people, every fucking day. You got to have the right priorities and do beneficial things for your life and the people around you. Make the world a better place. It will make you happy. And her specific breakdown of the goals, again, I love, because, you know, with an anime girl like this, I was actually expecting her to be a little more, I guess, what's the word, sentimental about it. But she is specifically like, we're like, goal, get you a girlfriend. She doesn't do the, whoa, I mean, every girl that's going to come into your life is like a magical snowflake and you need to treat her like the princess she is. Like, yeah, obviously be nice to the people in your life, but relationships come and go. It's not like you're going to find your destined love on like the first time you ever talk to a fucking girl, the way anime often presents it as. She's like, nah, fuck these hoes, man. We got to get you on the cock carousel right now because it'll build character, which to a certain extent it will. And here are your goals. Talk to 3 girls today, bro. Go do that. Fucking get people to ask you if you have a girlfriend.
By get you on the cock carousel, I assume you mean as a fixture, not as a rider.
As the fixture, not the rider.
As the ultimate rider, hopping all along.
By the way, here's a picture
experience
of the guy who wrote the light novel of this. He looks like an anime character himself.
That hair is kind of impressive, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It's cool. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he clearly has his shit together, at least reasonably well. Look, point being, I love that they just take this idea of fuck you, dude. You're just full of self-pity. Life is just a skill to be achieved like everything else. Stop pitying yourself every fucking day and realize that nobody else was just born as a 10 out of 10. Like, she shows him, I just take off my makeup and I put on sweatpants and I look as shitty as you do. I choose not to do that. And to a certain extent, he needs to be educated, because a lot of us guys out here, we just didn't fucking know what to do. So you gotta look into it. And I hope that it goes well for him. Set reasonable goals that are going to help you inch your way towards success, like the daily missions in video games, and be the true gamer. A true gamer never scoffs at a gaming challenge. Have gamer pride and say it's not about the rules of the game being shitty. It's about overcoming them and finding the optimum strategy to victory.
We're
Weaponizing gamer pride in order to succeed and improve ourselves in life. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yeah.
That's right.
Fuck if you're the bottom character. People have won with bottom characters. Remember when Jigglypuff was a bottom tier character in Smash, and now she's like fucking S tier in Melee? That's because Hungry Box proved that she's an S tier character because he put in the fucking work. So get out there, Tomozaki, and make your Jigglypuff-looking ass top tier, you piece of shit. All right.
Alternatively, dismiss everything Nate said. Everybody fail. Fail horribly. That way I can take the advice and get better faster. I can exceed above everybody else because everybody else isn't doing anything good about themselves. Alternatively,
that's fair.
Pro-bullying. It's the same thing as Wonder Egg. What can I say? To make a fantastical, wonderful world, everybody, except for me, don't put in the effort. I put in all the effort and succeed more easily.
Oh, don't worry. You don't have to ask me not to put in effort.
That is something of a paradox. You actually want other people... I mean, you want to stand up more, right? So yeah, nobody else do it except for me. All right. Next anime, Urasekai Picnic. How about Hiding? Tell us a little bit about that. Could you?
Sure. Let me pull up the picture like I always do. Urasekai Picnic, a wonderful Yuri show-ish about this fantastical couple of girls. The blonde lady and the short-haired, red sweater lady that I like more because she has glasses and short hair. They go, I imagine, on a long adventure with fantastical elements that does not... I was gonna say not a picnic. I was like not a walk in the park, but not a. I don't know. It didn't really work out.
I get it.
There's my description.
Yeah, there's some girls. They do some. I mean, I didn't love it. It was kind of boring.
I wasn't the most into this either. I mean, if this was a different season, I could see maybe having some interest, because I just generally like these kinds of stories where there's like this kind of surrealism and like these like weird alternate kind of reality dimensions.
A little like flip flappersy, a little bit.
Yeah,
Definitely
that kind of spectrum. I'm just generally like am interested in that, especially when it's like bleeding between like this alternate like sort of like weird logic world and then the real world, and they're sort of like bleeding into each other. Always interesting.
It's funny you say all that, because I agree, and I probably would have remembered this show more and better if I didn't watch Wonder Egg Priority after
that is literally what I was just about to say.
It doesn't stand up well
Everything
by
that
comparison.
this show offers, Wonder Egg does more and better. So I just don't have much like particular reason to be invested.
This is more lighthearted if you want less serious stuff, I guess.
Guns.
If that's your thing.
I'm interested in this, in that, like Wonder Egg, they're both based on novels, I think. And this one is written and directed by Takuya Sato, who also directed the Ichigo Marshmallow anime and the Nia Under 7 anime. And that one's probably the one that this reminds me of more. And also We Cross. I don't know. He's done like lots of interesting stuff, but not necessarily amazing. And this feels like it's along those lines as well. Of like, I was drawn in at first by like the main character just like wakes up in a weird like puddle in like a field, and there's like a scratchy demon thing, and a girl throws salt at it and it disappears. Like you said, weird logic. All this like trippy dreamlike stuff, and the fact that we're dropped in, there's never an explanation of like how did the characters find this place, or like what is going on exactly. We're just kind of thrust in, characters start telling us rules, and we're like, okay, cool, hit the ground running, let's watch these girls like become friends and do shit. But it's like almost, I'm not gonna say trashier than the other show, Wonder Egg. Like you said, it's more lighthearted. It's kind of just like
that show's like anti-trashy, so this is trashier, I would say.
Yeah, it's just like it feels like it's meant to be like, hey, this is a cute little Yuri show with like some adventurous stuff, some Lovecraftian elements almost, that like when you look at these demons, they make you insane, but if you look at it for long enough, then you gain insight. And so basically, like the way they beat this thing is like the one girl continues looking at it and it's like tells the other one, snap me out of it if I seem like I'm about to go insane, And so she does that, and like with the rules of a Lovecraft game, she gains insight and figures out how to defeat the enemy, which is that they both have to be looking at it when they attack it, I think. Like
that's
nobody
like
can
if
not
one
attack
person
it.
isn't perceiving it, then it can't be like damaged.
So like on the one hand, the rules in a story like this being like, okay, I have to look at it until I'm about to go insane, and then I'll know how to defeat it. It's like when the logic of the rules is like that, then it's like there's not as much tension in the scenarios, because there's not like clear. I guess like there's no reason for for us to believe what the characters are figuring out other than the story is telling us to. Like, she just kind of looks at the monster and then discovers what to do. There's not like a puzzle we could have solved along with her or anything like that. So like, in that sense, the world feels very vague and metaphorical, and like all the combat and all that weird stuff is like not as important to a literal plot as it might be to like a metaphorical plot, similar to Wonder Egg Priority but less direct about it.
Yeah.
Again, Flip Flappers is probably like the strongest comparison I could think of in tone.
Also, it's not like the best looking show. It just like I would be more down for this if like it was just like more good looking, and I could at least like, oh, cool looking alternate world with like unique monster designs and stuff. It's not like terrible visually, but definitely not like at the level that I would want of something like this.
Yeah, I think
it's not above the bar for me to care.
It needed to have more going on visually. Like
I liked the cube, the mirror cube. Yeah, that looked cool. It reflects things. Looks nice. That's my favorite thing about this show.
If there was
this show
not
had, like,
enough lesbian sex, I'm just being upfront.
We're in the foreplay
what
stages.
was lacking.
I think it could have used like more characters or more concepts or just like more in general going on, more intrigue than what we had. Again, I was more into this show before I saw Wonder Egg Priority, and then I kind of like was like, all right, well, this is like more obviously good, so you know.
Definitely the weirdest episode of Toriko I've ever seen. there's a character named Toriko.
Oh, is there?
That's,
I didn't watch this one. This is the only one I didn't see, but I do like Toriko. It's a good manga. I do like it.
You should check this out then. It's a good spin-off.
It's very similar, actually.
Oh, it's a good spin-off. Okay, awesome.
That's why it's called a picnic, you know. Nice eat food, you know. All right, there it is. Boom. It's not as good as Wonder Egg. Next show. Let me describe this quickly. Seiin Koukou Danshi Volley-bu, or the 2.43. That's the title. I don't know. Okay, that's what it means. Something volleyball, high school volleyball team. Gotta say, this is without a doubt the best volleyball anime I have ever seen, because I haven't seen Haikyuu. That's what I'm saying.
I was about to come to your home and attack you, but as long as you say that, you know.
It's like a more emotional volleyball sports. I mean, it's about like the drama of these high schoolers playing volleyball. There were elements I liked of a new kid comes to town. He was actually a childhood friend of the main character guy, but he's all stuck up and he only cares about volleyball. Oh, he's a dumb jock, meaning that it's weird that like a bigger, stronger guy in an insulting way refers to this volleyball obsessed guy as a jock, which is a weird thing, consider the America media and I've consumed over my lifetime. But nonetheless, this guy is so committed to volleyball that he's like driven his fellow players to attempting suicide out of sheer force of will, apparently.
Yeah.
And that's why he's moved to this new town and is trying to get his new volleyball team off the ground. But will his forcefulness be too much and drive our main character also to suicide?
Hopefully.
Yes.
Find out on the next episode.
Will he
Hopefully.
be the king of the court? There's so many like Haikyuu references that I like feel the impulse to make, and it's not gonna be. But
no,
whenever I was watching, I watched this one with Jack because both him and I are pretty big on Haikyuu. And the main character, I kept saying that it was like somebody was like, we need a volleyball anime. And they were like, what if we made Tsukishima the main character? And then the like producer came back and was like, all right, no. You got to at least give him orange hair. That's what it felt like. They just, I mean, he's determined, unlike Tsukishima. It feels like the two of the side characters from Haikyuu, to me at least, Tsukishima and Tadashi, were like kind of mixed around personality-wise slightly and just made the main characters of this. But in general, I don't know, something about the production, not even production, just like the way the character designs are. It's hard for me to put my finger on it. It felt very hollow for me. Maybe it's just the way they drew the eyes. I don't know. Something about the designs were very hollow to me.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's like, for me, it's like a mix of that paired with like it's so melodramatic, and like I don't dislike melodrama if it's done right, but I just like could not buy into any of it, like especially the scene where it's like I think it's like his uncle or his cousin or someone that's like kind of a bum that the main character hangs around, and then he's like blowing off hanging around that group of shady individuals to instead better himself and do volleyball. And then there's like a whole scene where he's like, I'm doing this for your own good, you're never gonna amount to anything in your life, just hang with us and be a loser forever because it's not worth trying. I'm like, this is just it's a little too up front.
It was a little gauche. It was very on the nose. But as usual with messages like that, I've just got a little bit of a sweet spot for me. Like watching the team be inspired by this one guy. He practices volleyball alone, and then main character guy is like, oh, you're playing alone? Okay, I'm in the volleyball club. I'll come hang out with you. And how it just kind of inspires everybody to try a little harder. I always like scenes like that of getting them a little jazzed. And I mean, the issue is clear. She's like it's like the Princess and the Frog. Sometimes you work too hard and you're making life shitty and you're making people around you commit suicide. So that's not good. So maybe dial it back a little bit. But other characters like Naveen and Princess and the Frog could put in a little more effort. So find a sweet spot there. So my summary is go watch Princess and the Frog.
I agree.
The best Disney movie.
Counter thesis: this show's actually pro suicide, and it's saying that you should work people as hard as possible.
Yeah, it's saying you should take Nate's message to heart times 100 and continuously instill in them such a high standard that most of them end up completely quitting, so that once again you can be the one to succeed while everyone else.
In the team sport,
you leave corpses behind you.
You alone.
You alone. One man volleyball team destroys the nation.
I went into this show expecting it to just be like Pretty Boys and nothing else, so I was surprised that it like had a plot and was like a show. And this is all right.
Better than Skate.
Like, I liked that the guy who, I guess bullied his classmates to the point of attempted suicide. Like, I love that he is, like, just an asshole and everybody tells him so. Like, the main character literally tells him, like, wow, you are a shit to be around. No wonder you have no friends. And, like...
Yep.
So I'm interested in that aspect of the show. That's like the only thing that would hook me is like I want to see how this guy's arc plays out of him learning to not be a complete ass. But I don't know. The show didn't grab me that much that I would actually see watching more of it just for the just for the sake. Like I know we're not gonna cover it on Khantehnt, so it's dropped. Like probably
no.
Yeah, that's kind of snore. It was okay. I wasn't a big fan.
Okay, whatever. We'll just move straight on to the next one. We're talking about fucking Tenchi Souzou Design Boo. Let's see. Digi, you want to tell us about it at all?
Yeah, this was a really fun one. It was the Heavens Design group or whatever.
Bureau?
So,
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the conceit of this show, and I had been excited for this show thinking it was going to be about like fashion design. No, it is in fact about animal design, but pitched like it's fashion design, where you've got a group of angels, I guess, hang out in heaven and create new animals. And so the conceit is that God has just been outsourcing the creation of animals since the first 7 days, I guess, and these guys have been doing it. It's highly entertaining because the idea is sort of that they are creating evolution. The Galapagos Islands are their little stage where they go to test out new animals. And like we watch them like create a giraffe, and like the main conceit of this is imagine if a boardroom was like creating animals that do exist. What chain of logic would they have followed to reach it? So like a giraffe. It starts off with the guy who invented horses wanting to make a horse that can eat leaves off of tall trees, so he puts wings on it. But they're like, oh, you can't have a horse with wings. It won't be able to fly. Fucking too big animals. So, like, you get all these animal facts and all this, like, little logical back and forth as the characters try to design creatures. It's, It's just an animal facts show, but it's that presented in a fun way.
That's true. That thing right there, like I was kind of once I understood the premise, I was like, oh, it's gonna be some like magical dumb shit. Like it's gonna be silly. I actually really like the element of realism of like, no, I mean with a horse, it literally in order to fly with wings, it would have to have incredibly what is it, empty bones like birds have or whatever, and be like really really muscular to flap enough. And so obviously it just won't work. So the way they kind of shape, we see like a giraffe, its design getting shaped with the requirement of like an animal that can eat leaves off like a tall tree, and they're like, okay, let's start with a horse because one guy does everything off a horse. Haha, very funny. And then they're just like, oh, it needs to be taller. It needs like, oh, let's try like a long neck. There's one guy who's like, in order to do that, let's make like this tree that stretches its trunk and has like sticky things attached to it. He's like the innovator versus like the more traditionalist people or whatever. It kind of reminded me of watching Mad Men. Not like the main premise of Mad Men of like the cultural stuff, but just the stuff that I enjoyed of like watching them like come up with like ad ideas and workshopping ideas like in like a boardroom type setting was a lot of fun. And I liked watching them just like bang these ideas off each other with like their different priorities of one guy who cares about the beauty of them and one guy who wants to eat them. He likes tasty food.
He taste tests every animal. He is the top of the food chain.
For me, for this show for me kind of falls into the like shows that I feel like should be 5 to 10 minutes an episode, but are instead 24 minutes, because it's like like I think I was like 5 minutes into the first episode, and I just thought to myself, like, I feel like I have seen every episode of this show already.
Yeah,
because like it's so like straightforward in that like what you described as the premise is the show. That is the whole show.
That's all.
Each member of the boardroom is a very defined like singular archetype. Like all of the dialogue is very very obvious, for lack of a better word, an obvious like evolution of what their archetype is. And then you just have them designing the animals. Yeah. My issue is that there's just not like, it's not like aesthetically diverse, because most of it is just them in this room, just sort of talking, right? So there's not like a whole lot happening besides
it's very
dialogue
gag manga in that way.
And it's also not like dense enough with information, because I like learning facts about things, but there's not like, if it was going to be a show that teaches you shit about animals, I would want more information rather than just like, you know, a couple facts. I would want it to like fucking overwhelm me with fucking giraffe facts. Give me all of the giraffe facts. I need them all.
Well, you know, more than maybe this just speaks to like this show being lighthearted and fun, like by design, or maybe it speaks to like the low caliber of this batch of episodes. But more than any other show we watched in this batch, I wanted to watch episode 2 just to get more cheap laughs about animal facts, because I was like, this was fun. I want more fun. I'm gonna watch more.
I'm glad
the rest of them.
You know? Jesus.
Everyone else has to consider as well that me and Nate have we've abandoned this human concept of watching anime at regular speed long ago. So things like say, oh, well, it'd be better if it was 10-minute. It was a 10-minute episode for me. It was perfect length.
Oh, so double time speed? I think you guys perfected it, because I think I was watching it with Heidi and Core, and this was like one of the most painful experiences I think of the season for me. I was not funny. I was just in pain. My body
You
was
didn't like
aching.
when the man got squished by the big thing that rolled on him and he was a paper 2D
my brain was
man?
melted before that scene. I don't know what happened. I'm going to be honest. There was a giraffe, and I was like, okay, this show's kind of nothing.
I liked the scene where they tried. They were like, okay, we'll make the horse with like fucking a long ass like neck. With a long ass neck.
Is the deer,
and
wasn't
then
it?
comes out of the door and it fucking dies immediately because it like can't breathe.
That was the best part of the episode.
That was the best part, because it was like just funny and kind of dark.
I mean, that's what I want the whole show to be, is just these weird moments where like through the idea of this super long neck deer is funny in and of itself, and like I feel like the show is an excuse to create moments like that, you know, of like dumb reasons for weird like half finished animals to exist, I guess.
I don't know.
I just wish it was like more condensed. Like everything about it, I feel like just could have been condensed and refined a lot more to be like more worth my time.
I just love the difference. I don't know. I kept listening, and I remember like we were like when we were in the call, we were like, oh my god, how far in are we? Only 8 minutes? Are you kidding me? It feels like we've been watching this for half an hour. And then, you guys loved it. Like, loved it.
And Nate's even
saying, like, well, I mean, you said compared to the lower batch this season we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, I loved a lot of the shows earlier, but I don't know. I just thought it was so funny when Core comes in, because I already knew what Core thought of this show, and it's such wonderful feelings towards it already. So he's like, how do I don't know. It was just too funny for me.
I think I like the character designs for the show, but
the main character
I feel like
design is very charming.
There was no time to. Every character was talking like 1,000,000 miles per second, and I was getting choked to death by. There was no pausing. I don't know. It was. I'm sure.
Look, no one would say this was like a great show. All right, it's a simple gag show with stupid animal puns. All right, let's just leave it at that. My feelings are hurt enough as is.
It's good. It's charming. It feels its role.
It's amazing. I love it. Actually,
it's the best show I've seen the entire year.
I will agree that it could be more dense, but I also feel that way about almost every anime, which is why I watched them at sped up speeds.
Yeah.
The next one was another one that I probably wouldn't have enjoyed as much at normal speed, but enjoyed plenty at sped up speed as well. Byoui Ramune. Nate, do you want to tell us about Dr. Ramune?
Remember Dr. Stone? I mean, it's like that, but not at all the same.
God, it's this one.
It's about a doctor. Okay, I had hope for this show because this meme that's been going around for a long time of the mysterious illness, like the super cold, the Japanese super cold, where people just like die because they have a cold and they're bedridden for like months, was a big meme. And I was like, yes, we're going to make that into a joke. It's actually not that at all. It's just about like supernatural diseases that this like supernatural doctor treats. Main example of first episode being there's just a little girl who cries mayonnaise out of her eyes, and then it expands to all condiments.
It's so weird.
Okay.
Funny.
Epic, very, very gamer, very sick. The reason for this being, as we learn, she's like a child actress who her overbearing mother is like repressing her emotions so that she will like, use that energy for on the screen. And she also, she's working her daughter really hard. So like the daughter is unhappy. She's being overworked. She's not having a chance to like bond with her mother anymore. And like her emotions are all bottled. So they just come out uncontrolled as different condiments because, the spirits have done this to her. Okay, it's fine. It's just about, you take a premise. It's like a episode of the week kind of thing of like there's some mysterious illness.
It's an exorcism show. It's like XXX Holic. Or
I was thinking, yes, it's just like Holic, and it's just about like taking whatever particular scenario it is, giving it like a goofy coat of paint. In this case, it's like leans more into comedy stuff, and they'll just find an emotionally cathartic way to have this arc develop as like the mom in this learns, I've been working my daughter too hard. I've got to relax and not have so many
shows like this.
jobs.
I think they tend to live and die on how the big character, the main in this case Ramune Sensei, like how they go about their big reveals. Like how they go about like solving the situation. And in this case, it's like he gives the girl these contacts. He's like, all right, don't use these too much because they have side effects. He doesn't tell her what they are.
Doesn't say what they are.
So, of course, she uses them too much and they have side effects. But, like,
the side effects are you fucking die, by the way. That's the side effects. Okay, Doc, thank you.
But, like, he sets up the mom in this situation where it's like he kind of fucks with her head a bit by being like, you can, I can save your daughter, but you're going to have to sacrifice something. And she's like, what, like money? And he's like, how much money is your daughter's life worth? And she's like, fine, I'll do anything. And so it, like the spirits that are inside of her destroy all of her shit, all of her like diamonds and all the fancy shit that she bought from her daughter's earnings. And, she's like crying over all of it, but he like reminds her again, like, hey, like, do you care about those diamonds so much? Like I can bring you 10 of them back for just one of her arms, and then that's when the mom finally like cracks. And I like that he pushes it into that edgy territory, not because he's actually going to do anything edgy, obviously, but because like it really fucks with the person and like we see the mom actually change at the end, which I liked this scene of them coming to meet. Like, not just that she changed as a person, but that she, like, literally comes to meet the doctor again and, like, as a, nice, like an appreciation. It was a sweet little ending. Shows like this...
I wanted the mom to die, personally.
Yeah.
I really would have liked it if that had happened, but unfortunately...
I mean, all her
Poor
shit got wrecked.
A child actor here, like 7 years old, just playing older characters, so you can relate to that.
I think the best part of this episode and show in general, like the part that I was laughing most at, because like him getting bonked on the head and stuff was very like kind of dry for me.
Very epic.
But
I've never seen it done before.
The pure absurdism of some of these sentences that like I was reading, I started cracking up. Like the whole thing of like, I remember when it started, and it was this like horrible sound with the fucking thing coming out. And Jack was like, why the hell do her tears sound like that? I was like, I think it's like slime. And then you got mayonnaise coming out of your eyes. I was like, that is the most ridiculous concept. Like just as a concept.
Mayonnaise and soy sauce.
I loved it. And then the soy sauce. And then whenever she's like overfilling from using the things, but it can't come out, it's just... It's going from this melodrama to these shots of freaking ketchup and everything in this big pile of condiments. I don't know. I didn't like the show a ton as a whole, but the sheer absurdism, like when it was like, when they were putting the absurdism forward and the absurdism was at its peak, like it was just hilarious to witness what I was reading.
I love that stuff too. That gives me a very like classic shonen gag comedy vibe. Reminds me a bit of like Nogami Neuro, if any of you saw that. Though that was a bit more violent, but like I just love these shows that, yeah, like you said, it's that serious comedy thing, like they talk about in Bakuman, of like the characters are taking it completely serious, but the situation is so ridiculous that it's inherently funny. That is this is a show that, like, this genre is very hit or miss. Not only are the shows hit or miss, but tends to be the episodes within the shows are hit or miss. So it's like really hard for me to have like confidence that this will be better, worse, or anything different from the first episode. But I enjoyed it enough, and I'm actually writing an anime very similar in concept to this, so it's like, oh, this will be very helpful for me to like study the structure of this show and see how to work. I just think that the first episode, as one of these stories, one of these sort of just meet a character, fix their problem type stories, was really well done. So, you know,
man, just go watch Mushishi instead. Doesn't have the same
Mushishi is definitely much better.
It's exactly the same, like in tone, equally comedic.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, well there you go. Next show.
Could you imagine an anime that looked as good as Mushishi coming out all of a sudden? You'd just
That'd
be
be
like,
wonderful.
My head would explode off my body. Just like it did then when that show did come out.
Yeah.
Okay, Project Scarred, Praeter no Kizu. Jack, tell us about it, please. You sound like you're excited.
Project Scarred. Let me.
Scarred.
You can describe it, Nate. I have to remember what.
I don't remember what it is either.
Wait.
Shit.
Okay.
Oh, this was the fucking Gohan's shows, my friends. This was, you don't need to remember what the plot of this show was. Just how it looked.
God. The fucking 2D
I mean, okay, the best thing about this show is the revolutionary combination of 2D and 3D animation that's pushing the whole genre forward in a radical way.
Pushing the limits.
This was probably the ugliest show I've seen in a long time.
God.
I completely disagree. I love it.
Really?
I love how it looks. I love that it looks the way it does.
But I love that it looks like Half-Life 1.
Do you like the sparkles? The random sparkles in the air, like throughout the whole show.
This is what Studio Gohan seems to be like known for now. Is this like kitchen sink approach of just dump all this fucking weird bullshit, like as many filters, as many effects, just as much bullshit on there. And like it started with handshakers, and that was like legendarily bad. But this one, it's a definite improvement on handshakers, because that show not only had all the ugly CGI, but also the actual animation was like wrong. Like it was bad, it was off. Characters were constantly changing model, and like it was melty. It looked terrible. This show does not have that problem. At least the 2D animation is correct. There are some decent fight scenes. Everything looks fucking ridiculous. I can't take any of it seriously. Not that I think I should, because the characters are all just like edgy, pretty boys who just say like they just like drop one-liners and shoot guns.
Otome,
but like,
bullshit.
I wish I could pay attention to the plot so I could look at the show more. That was how I felt about the last one they did as well. Each of these shows I've only seen the first episode, and I go, wow, that was mesmerizing. But it's so dumb. I can't engage with it. Like my brain just turns off at some point.
Just watching like the tech they did. I mean, I agree. The 2D animation overlaid over the 3D. At no point did I think like it looked like they animated it incorrectly. It was animated correctly to sync with like the world they were in. But like when you see,
it's just
like,
horrifying.
A fairly pretty. It's just so bizarre to see
a
decent-looking anime pretty boy on top of like Half-Life 1 table that's like right in front of them with like the shittiest texture I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you'll have like
all over the place. Say again. What's that?
You'll have like the water and lighting effects and 2D animation and 3D animation all on screen at the same time. Like four completely different art styles. But like they every shot they're trying to make it look cool. Like So in a weird
there's
way,
a fundamental issue here.
it tickles some part of my brain that knows that there was an age when I was young enough that I wouldn't have been able to tell any of this was bad, and I would have thought this was just the best looking show ever made. Like, I know there's a young, like a kid version of me who thinks this is the coolest looking show ever, just because it's like, it's constantly blasting your eyeballs out of your face with lights and fucking weird shit. But yeah, no, it's a hideous monstrosity.
It's trash from start to die. I mean,
you said it like tickled your brain, Digi. Like, I feel like it was stabbing my brain with like how bad it looked. I don't know. My brain couldn't keep up with all the sparkles in the air.
I definitely think it was on purpose, though. I agree with I think what Nate said, where it feels like everything they did, even though it looks just not good. It feels like they did intentionally make it look like that. Maybe it was Did You Say?
No, well, it is like
but
if you look at it's either the director or the art director, like what he's worked on before, even before Gohan's, a lot of his work was like pretty like gaudy visually, like fucking what is it, the cyberpunk movie, it's not
Ghost
Marduk
in the
Scramble?
Shell.
Marduk Scramble, that's what it is.
That is
Which
also
like I
Gohan's.
watched like recently, and I was like, yeah, it's definitely more tame compared to this, but like I can see the evolution.
Marduk Scramble looks fucking terrible. That was one of those things where I didn't watch it for a few years until after it came out, and then I tried to, and I was like, this CG would have looked dated in like 1999.
Yeah, it
like,
wasn't fresh on release date.
It's very gaudy. I just wish like I could see something like this being kind of interesting because of the bizarre aesthetics, but like the action scenes with the 3D backgrounds and the 2D characters make me nauseous and give me a headache.
There's got to be an amazing AMV that could be edited out of all these Gohan's shows.
I can feel the animation crawling in my skin as we speak.
Perfection.
Please
Holy shit.
make that happen.
I also think with the
all
environments. Sorry, this is like a very
go on.
hyper-specific thing. With the environments, even though they are like Half-Life low texture, they're also hyper detailed with tons of crap in every shot, and it's like all 3D and everything. And the whole time I was watching it, like for me, I felt like, I'll send a picture, but it felt like in Persona 3 Dancing, which is like a spin-off game that had no budget. Whenever you max out the character, you get to go to their room, but since their room was never fully realized on the PS2, it feels like they took the vague assets and put in the minimum effort to make their rooms, and where it's just densely packed, but all the textures are horrible, especially for a PS4 game. It's the time I was watching this, I was like, oh man, Persona 3 Dancing looking weird. Oh man. It was great. It was not great, actually. I did not
Some of
enjoy
the weird
watching this.
like big spin shots they do as you're like looking over the city. I mean, it's just terrible. Oh, you know what? It did remind me of the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex opening Origa animation from that opening, which was from like 2001. It was like that level.
But that looked good.
And that didn't look great back then. Even then, I mean, I had issues with it back then. But it's been 20 years.
I still like that OP.
I mean, it's a great OP. Don't get me wrong, but the CG is a little bit iffy there. Okay, but in any case,
it's just the one shot of her face at the end where her teeth are kind of funny.
Yeah,
that's the only part that's like Uncanny Valley. Otherwise, it's a great OP.
Now, time for a legendary show that'll go down in the annals of history. Soukou, Musume, Senki, LBX Girls. Core, what do you think? What do you think about this one?
All right. So I'm going to present my theory. I can't prove this by any metric. I have a feeling that this how much you enjoy this show will come down purely to how autistic you are. On the basis that the show cold opens with a 5-minute conversation about the train lines before any action or anything at all.
That was the only part of the episode I enjoyed. The very start of the episode, like these two girls like meet up, and I just found their conversation extremely natural. It was like everything they were saying was like, oh yeah, this is like two characters just met up and started talking about like their travel and the trains they're taking and stuff. Like, cool, whatever. And then they kind of slide in like, oh yeah, there's like Gundams are really popular here, like Gundam models kits. They're not even model kits; they're actually pre-built. They look like model kits, but you open it up and it's just an action figure. But then the girl touches the action figure and gets sent to another world, and none of the shit that happened in the opening seemingly mattered at all.
God,
Is she gonna go back home?
The
I was
best part of,
screaming.
I think the best part was when they got sent to the other world, purely because how surprising it was after I was like sitting there like bored to tears because I just like watched a 5-minute conversation about train lines. And then she touches the thing and suddenly like the color inverts and like you're dropped into the fucking action scene with like absolutely no hesitation, no setup. Like it just plops you right in and then there's action. After that went on for more than a minute. My brain kind of turned off and I lost interest. That was it was at least kind of interesting, like the long setup for the
it was very
It
establishment
just felt like the show was a different show after that.
Yeah, it really did.
I wasn't sure if anything I had learned mattered anymore.
I mean, I love once we fall through that hole and we're in the middle of like this big fighting moment. I mean, my favorite part was, did you guys notice? I don't know if this was a direct reference, but like some of these armored girls that are fighting or whatever, one does the Independence Day move where like the big alien is charging up their laser about to shoot down, and she like smiles at her friends and goes, "Hello, boys, I'm home," and she drives her fucking thing directly back into the ship, blowing it up.
Oh my god!
It was literally Independence. Okay, she doesn't say those words, but she was thinking it. I'm sure she was thinking, just like that guy in Independence Day. That was cool. Did you guys know this is based on a level 5 game series, by the way, called Little Battlers Experience, LBX?
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it.
Like it.
Do the research, ladies and gentlemen, so you don't have to.
Gosh.
It's not, I don't think it's that popular. Why was this made? Who needed this show to be made? What is the target? I guess people who played that game.
People who like probably models and robot and girls with mecha suits, but I
like girls.
Girls are not like cute enough for this kind of show. Like,
no, I mean the CG ugly armor girls were not.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like these girls, but I like girls.
Hey, you know who my favorite character was? There's the AI of their ship is called Nate.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nate.
That is
yeah,
kinda
that's what I
epic.
remember thinking of that. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. And then
epic.
This was my acting debut in Soukou Musume Senki, and I killed it, frankly.
You did.
Well, that's my name too,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh shit!
Nate.
Really?
Nate.
Damn.
Nate River. Yeah.
Incredible. Whoa,
Kinda
like.
crazy.
Oh wait, that's L. I mean, he does become L, but it's near. I know that guy. He does become L. That was literally accurate, Jack. Why are you laughing?
It is accurate. It is accurate.
I just laugh at
Motherfucking
everything, dude.
piece
No,
of
no.
Yeah, well, maybe don't sometime.
Okay.
Like, why would you laugh at an epic war story
like
like Soukou Musume Senki
With the skateboard.
by Studio A-Cat? What an amazing experience. This show fucking sucks. I mean, what more do you want from me, people? Don't watch it.
Nothing to
It's
say
not
about
good.
It
this
sucks.
one.
Yeah. The twist was
Thank
funny.
you, Jack.
There you go.
Next show, I guess. Okay, listeners, I'm going to let you know right now. We're into the idol doldrums of the episode of the show. It's all idols from here on out.
Anything but this.
If you want to check out, now's the time. Before last
Wait, after
episode.
this ad break, now's the time.
Hey kids, want to impress your friends and induce sexual arousal in your neighbors? Khantehnt T-shirts!
Wow, I've never been more impressed in my life with anything.
Khantehnt now has official T-shirt merchandise, and you can get yourself some by clicking below the video or in the Teespring link in the description. With designs like the classic Khantehnt logo.
Or this.
I've got a shirt on too.
Or this. Khantehnt! New designs will be coming all the time, so always stay tuned on that Teespring store and look for fresh designs. They're a great way to support the show and share your Khantehnt pride. So get out there, wear them, and get into Khantehnt. Okay, Gekidol, Act Idol, whatever you want to call it. Digi, tell us a little bit about this
Oh
masterpiece.
boy! All right, let me look at the picture so I can remember what the characters looked like. Okay, this is the one I was saying I think is gonna try to pull a Madoka on us.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
It's an anime original idol show from Hoods Entertainment. It starts off basically there's like this backdrop of like Ikebukuro, I think, got destroyed or something. It's like a big hole in the ground.
Absorbed, and apparently other places along the planet also this happened to. I think this was like an incident or something.
But none of that matters yet because that's just the dramatic backdrop that'll be relevant later when we have our dark twist. But for now, the main girl wants to be an idol, just like the like I guess there's like a. It's not even like a normal idol. She's like an actor. Like they're trying to become actresses in like these floating stage plays. It's like Blitzball meets Shakespeare, I guess. And like she wants to be one. And like the main character has no real personality. And the show, all these idol shows always have this kind of weird inherited will theme of like the idols all must be replaced by someone who is exactly the same as them or whatever. So there's like this undercurrent of, oh, she's just like the already famous idol. She's going to be the next chosen whatever. I don't know, man. None of the characters had any fucking personality in this show. So it really just like drifted by me.
Yeah. I mean, the weirdest thing about this show, and as you said, like they start with 5 years ago, this climactic event happened where like the whole world was changed. The entire episode is just about a girl like going to an acting class and like doing acting for the first time. These two events surely must coincide in some important
There's a
way.
moment where like a guy, some like evil looking dude in a military looking place is looking at a bunch of screens and he's like, her talents would be wasted on stage.
Is this like going to be like Macross?
Scary
It's Macross
man.
where they sing to fight the aliens, right? That's where that
cool.
happens.
Macross?
Maybe it'll be that.
Macross?
What's the show where they sing to fight the aliens? It's like a singing thing. That's right. That's one of the Macrosses, right? Maybe that'll happen. Like they have to act to fight the aliens. They have to act really good. I don't know.
This did not inspire confidence in me. It was a show that like, this is another one where the only thing that would have got me to keep watching is my curiosity to find out what the twist would be. And that's just not good enough for me.
I enjoyed actually kind of the ominous feeling of like at the end, we see like three other girls just like doing their idol song and dance thing. So, okay, I guess they are, in addition to actors, are also idols. Like the computer is like, as they're acting, like changing their outfits and the environment they're in. Like clearly the tech is like way advanced, and we get this like ominous shot of like all the servers, all like the computing power that's running to power this. Like what is all this for? Just to act, to put on a show? This seems like a high intensity machinery at work here. It's just gonna be some like there's larger stakes behind why they're doing all this.
That shot that you're mentioning was like the one moment that like I liked, I think, in the whole first episode.
Yeah, me too.
Where like it abruptly cuts to like this ominous shot with all this fucking computer shit. It's really dark.
It's like Lane for 2
it reminded
seconds,
me of
which
Lane.
I loved.
Like it had like cool like sort of sound design to it, and it was like the one moment that the show was not aesthetically hideous. That was find those 10 seconds, watch that, and read the plot summary. There you go. That's Gekidol.
Maybe there'll be a cool twist. I don't know. I really don't know. It feels just like Yuri bait or something. I don't know.
I didn't even get that off of this one.
There's that one girl who seems to love her or something, but she hasn't done anything yet. I mean, that girl just goes on to say, you can't be someone special. Only special people get to be actors, and you're never going to be that talented.
Sure, we'll get to see them hold hands.
Yeah. That's about what you can
cry. Well, I'm not going to pretend that I watched Ichu halfway through the idol for more than a couple
minutes. I watched
minutes.
halfway through the episode, and then I fucking bailed.
This is a great show.
No, I didn't even get that far, honestly.
Probably my favorite one of this batch.
It's one of the best, honestly.
Jack, tell us about it, please.
Okay, so Ichu, I was very excited to find out. I predicted the show, so basically, this is like any type of high school. You go to high school regularly. Everyone is an idol at your high school, and you're competing to see which idol group is the best idol group. Pretty boys, they're singing, they're dancing, and yeah, it was.
This show has the worst costume design ever. All the main characters wear these fucking ridiculous striped ties that don't coordinate with their outfit fucking at all. It drove me insane.
I think
Like
that's
just
the aesthetic
looking
they're
at
going
them drove
for,
me
though.
crazy.
I think they're trying to look bad. Maybe I don't really know really.
What? No.
But I think I skipped halfway through the show. I think the show's called Halfway Through the Idol, so I skipped
Halfway through the
to
show.
the end.
Turn it
halfway
off.
through.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, you're just following the.
I was just following the
advice.
title of the show. It was terrible,
Yeah.
but it's just an idol show. it's just a stupid otome pretty boy
just
show.
don't watch this, guys. Just don't
couldn't.
watch it. It's not, I'm letting you know. You don't need to watch this one.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Fire whoever gave them the ties.
Good idea. Okay, hey, this is our last show of the day.
Huzzah.
Idols.
Here we are.
Idolls.
This
one
I
is
think
good.
I felt similar to this as how you did, Nate, about the Heaven's Design Club. Of this was the only show I
Yeah.
immediately wanted to watch more of.
I kind of enjoyed it. It was only 8 minutes too, so very digestible.
It's
felt
go for it.
I was just gonna say it felt like an internet show. Like I could see like a bunch of people putting together and like posting this as like a high production thing on YouTube or something. It's weird to
Sure,
imagine
sure.
this like on TV, I guess. It's
Yeah.
I mean, there's always some of
it
these
fits
kind of
into
shows, the
this,
like slap together ones. Yeah.
This specific niche of like short, like below like standard episode length, like mocap shows that feel kind of like partially unscripted.
Yes.
That's kind of like a low key sense of comedy.
It all began with Good Fairies, as far as I know, and that one with the Bradio song in it, Peeping Life. I think those are the ones that like kind of sowed this genre. But every season we get a couple of these. But like the technology has gotten a lot better because now that we have VTubers and everything, like this looked like it was made with the same technology as doing full 3D VTubers, like full body ones.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if this was literally like actually 4 girls sitting in a room mocapping it.
Yeah, me neither.
And it looks good. The character design's really good. It was funny. The concept is funny. It's that these 4 struggling idols, they have the idea of let's try to book Budokan a year from now and then like get big enough that we can pay it back or perform it. Budokan's too expensive, so instead they get like the entry level concert hall that can host 100 people and accidentally book it for 10 days from now, so they have 10 days to find 100 fans. And just the idea of it being like so low level and low stakes of these 4 girls are going to probably fail for most of the season to get 100 people to come to their show is really funny to
They
me.
have such like perseverance because it's like their 4th anniversary as an idol group, but then they say early on in the episode that they only have 3 people coming to their shows.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
how do you keep this up for 4 years? Like you,
We've been performing at Chuck E. Cheese every day for 3 years, and how is it we only have 3 fans? The math doesn't add up. I kind of loved this show once I got into it because it was only 8 minutes. Like most of the runtime was the characters being like, "Oh God, how are we gonna fucking get popular?"
Right.
And then one person says, "Hey, how about I just literally call Budokan on the phone and ask them to book?" Because like there's this thing in anime you always see of characters like they put off their dreams. They're like, oh, there's all these arbitrary boxes I need to check before I could possibly even attempt to like do this thing. Like when you like an anime, they'll be like, oh, I want to join the new crew, and the other anime characters will say, oh, well, you're just an up-and-comer, so you need to pass this arbitrary test I'm making up, even though there is no actual requirement to do any of this. And then you spend like 2 episodes doing that, they win, and then you move on. These characters are being far more down-to-earth and realistic. Okay, Budokan's too expensive? Fine. Let's just call the next one and see if they can book. What? You can book us in literally 10 days? And if we book now, we get half off the booking fee? Sold, motherfucker. Sign us up right now, and we will get 100 people to fill the fucking hall. It's so positive. It's so forward-thinking. And this, by the way, is how real life actually works.
Yeah.
You just make moves, people, and doors open for you.
That's what makes this type of show so entertaining to me is that the unscriptedness, whether it's all the way unscripted or not, I doubt this show is all the way unscripted, but like
the premise,
there's clearly like moments where characters are just kind of like, or the voice actors is just kind of saying stuff, and it's always funny and feels more natural because just the thought of like these anime, they look like anime girls, but when you hear the voice actresses like laugh or go off script or anything that like brings you into reality, it creates this weird sensation of like duality from the character that I just think is fucking hilarious. Like anytime I watch these shows and like seeing like I feel like I'm basically watching 4 actresses pretend to be anime girls and laugh at themselves over it, and that is always funny to me.
Yeah. I think
ironically, I guess with a show like this, my expectations are way lower, so it's like way easier for me to like have fun with it.
Right.
That's kind of my takeaway from it. It was
Also,
kind of enjoyable.
the dancing, because when fucking Gekidol had was it Gekidol? I think that's the one that had dance scenes in it that just were like not inspired. Like there was decent animation but no good choreography. And then Idols like actually had a pretty well choreographed ending theme. I really like the character models. They matched the mouths better than most. So yeah, like I just was impressed with the look of the show for being what it is.
I think for me, if every episode of the show was out, I would have watched the entire show in one sitting.
Yeah,
probably.
However, like there is like you said, like there is like multiple shows like this like every season, I feel like, at this point. I don't know that it like did enough to really like stand out for me to like feel motivated to come back to this when the season is done. This is not the type of show I would want to watch weekly. It's very much like watching one sitting. That was pretty entertaining.
It's like a handful of Cheetos. Like, sure, you can definitely eat a second handful of Cheetos real easily instead of preparing like a full course meal or whatever. That's the vibe I get from these kind of ones. So not to oversell its praises or anything.
Yeah.
Don't eat Cheetos. Never eat Cheetos again. It's high in carbs. Eat only broccoli. We'll have broccoli steamed with salt and pepper. That's it, baby. Chicken breast with lettuce.
True.
Hell yeah.
True.
Now you're making me hungry.
Well, okay, boom. That's it. That's our 14 shows
Holy
we have
shit.
now discussed. Bam. Through it in record speed. Let's do a closing thought here, because I know I had at least one.
I want to
thing
hear
I forgot
everybody's
to mention.
like best, worst, and what they think we should cover on Khantehnt.
You're right. We should do that. But real quick, let me just say I forgot to mention this. I just wanted to give a shout out to 2.43 Seiin Kokodashi Volley-bu. The opening for that show is the song Mahi, which means like paralysis, by this band Yama. When I heard how sick this opening was, I went to the YouTube panel, listened to a bunch of it. That song was fucking sick, and Yama is a dope ass like J-pop band. So
I love Yama. I was really
do you know
surprised
them?
to
Sick.
hear them.
First I'd heard of them
in anime. Yeah,
they are awesome, and the music video for Yama too. Maybe I'll put it in the description down below. It was really sick. So go give it a listen, everybody. Even if you don't watch the show, the 3 minutes and 21 seconds of your life. Yeah, it was fucking sick. Okay. Anyway, let's talk scores. So how about you, Jack? What do you think overall? What are your impressions of the season?
The best is like easily Wonder Egg. That one's just the best presentation wise. Has the best premise. Characters. Everything was done really well. The worst. It's so hard to pick because I hated a lot of them. Maybe the Gohan show, or maybe the Heaven's Design Team, just because I was really, really bored by that one. But I don't know. Most of them pretty bleed together in my brain. But Wonder Egg's a standout, and SK8 are probably my favorites. Very excited to watch more of those two shows. But yeah, it's a pretty decent season.
Core, what do you think, Dog?
I'd have to say, again, also Wonder Egg, definitely my favorite. I mean, I like in terms of first episodes for a seasonal anime, I've been watching like every first episode for seasonals for the past like 2 or 3 years, and I think this is like the best first episode I've watched in a long time. I was super invested immediately. Worst, I think like the definite like lowest quality one would probably be Aichu, but like it is so just nothing that I can't even muster the will to hate it.
Yeah.
Like I feel absolutely nothing about that show. There's like I have no emotions. Probably if I had to say the show I disliked the most, maybe Spider anime, because I was just found the main character really annoying. But like worst would probably be Aichu.
Yeah, I wrote a few. I'm not exactly sure either. I'd say Wonder Egg Priority obviously seems like pretty darn good. I'm excited to see where it goes. Mushoku Tensei also. I was very surprised with how much I liked it, since normally I don't even watch the first episode. I read the synopsis for an Isekai and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna skip this. For the worst, I mean, there's a lot that just like for me, just I don't really have any consideration. Like I don't even like my brain doesn't even have the ability to muster it up. So I'm not going to mention those ones. The ones that I actively disliked rather than just like zoning out and having my brain glaze over was probably Scarred or the Idlebot game anime.
Yeah.
It's all the CG and stuff. Or the Spider show, because I find that kind of voice and character kind of obnoxious in general. But then also I didn't like, they start it with like 50 seconds of making my eyes bleed with a horrible filter, and then they don't get better.
Yeah. It was not a good start. Not at all.
No, it was not. I'll go. Best show for me, the Jaku-Chara Tomozaki-kun. Hits my sweet spot of things I like to see being put out into the world. Not the most amazing production in the world, but it was fun just to watch a Smash clone just like animated in an anime. So that was all fun. Even like in the ending of that show, I noticed that like maybe it was coincidence, probably not, because it's like so clearly ripped. But like the like training mode grid in the background in training mode in Smash is like in the ending for the main character.
Really?
So it's like, whoa, guys, he's training like in a video game, but in real life to get better at stuff. So like that show. Mushoku Tensei looked pretty. Would not really watch more. Don't care. And Wonder Egg did look good. As I said, I'm a little worried it's just going to be boring for me, but it did have nice production, so I'd probably give it another chance. And special shout out to SK8, because I appreciate any anime that depicts Canadians in their appropriate role of subservience. True. So I appreciate that for
I also want to give I'm going to say it here just because I don't think it was on either list of shows, if I'm recalling correctly. But I also want to give a special shout out to the true anime of the season, which is Pui Pui Molcar. That one's the real sleeper hit.
Shit. Well, can you describe it to us? Maybe
it is a series of 3-minute episodes, stop motion animated, about a molcar, which is the combination of a guinea pig and a car, which humans travel around in. They have a symbiotic relationship, and each episode's antics. I think you would love this show.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Japanese Twitter is pretty crazy for it right now, from what I'm seeing.
If it's not on our part 2 list, then it'll have to be added to it for sure.
Okay, yeah, we'll discuss it there. By the way, I was just gonna say worst anime. Let me just stick that in there. Is definitely. I'm not exempting the ones that are just boring. Boring is bad. So the worst ones are Project Scarred. I don't care how fancy it was. I was bored to absolute tears. And then even worse was that Idol Boy anime in high school. That was just absolute deadening. Okay, go on, dude.
Yeah, my two favorites were definitely Jaku-Chara Tomozaki-kun and Wonder Egg Priority, as you guys already pointed out. Tomozaki-kun, for the same reasons as Nate, it literally felt like the anti-rental girlfriend.
Yeah.
It was the one I was the most excited about the prospect of like watching and talking about. Like just getting to react to all the ways that the show posits for people to try to improve themselves. And
man, did you see fucking Gigak put out a fucking best anime of 2020 with that fucking shit as like the Gigak? What are you doing? You're ruining the world with these recommendations, Gig. I haven't watched the video, but I can tell that you're making the world a worse place by even putting that in your fucking thumbnail. You hack. Fight me 1v1. The show needs the cure for your disease.
Yeah, Wonder Egg Priority had a great, really visually interesting first episode. Lots of neat ideas. I have the same concern you do, that it could just be boring or get overly serious, or just maybe not deliver on being interesting all the way through. Maybe they start explaining shit and it gets bad. But like, it's hard to know. I'm gonna keep my hopes up. I really like the first episode. Other than that, the worst, you guys all said Aichu. I didn't make it through much of that either. Soukou, Musume, Senki, the fucking... she's just, like, after she gets teleported to the other world, I just couldn't care anymore. It was like, all the dialogue was like just characters saying, like, fighting things, like, they're just like, oh, we gotta protect the thing and get over there and do the thing. Boring. So yeah, I guess we all pretty much agree what were the best and worst, but I was surprised how much was okay this season. Like, Aichu, Gekidol, Soukou, Musume, Senki, Project Scarred were probably the only ones that were like, I definitely would never watch more of this. Everything else I would be fine watching more of.
I'd watch more of the volleyball one too.
If I had to, for some reason.
Yeah, I thought the season was pretty okay. There was enough shows that I liked and really enjoyed that I'm pretty happy. And especially like when it comes to like visual presentation, that's I think the biggest like step up than I feel like last season.
Yeah,
So,
Project Scarred was a
obviously 'cause
huge
of, like,
step up.
Yeah,
Huge.
Project Scarred really changed the game. But like because of COVID and everything, you can see like a lot of shows had clear production issues. But like I'm starting to see like some shows that have genuinely pretty like impressive animation, and I'm always like I can always appreciate that even if I'm not necessarily super invested in the show.
Mm-hmm.
As for like stuff that like we could cover on Khantehnt, I mean the most popular one of all the stuff we talked today is still that Mushoku Tensei, like Little Boy Reborn one. Like, I mean, I wouldn't hate seeing where that goes a little bit more.
He grows up, by the way. He keeps growing through the story.
Oh, really? Okay.
Between Mushoku Tensei and Spider Isekai, I feel like Spider seems like it would have more to talk about, just based on the fact that it's like got lots of powers and concepts in it, and I don't know. Neither one would interest me that much. We've talked about so many fucking isekais.
Yeah, we sure have.
I guess
we're gonna talk slime too.
Because with this season, like we're covering all these new shows right now, but like on Khantehnt, we will be covering like 6 second seasons this season.
Yeah.
Shit.
So there might only be room for like 1 or 2 other shows for us to give a shot at all.
I mean, if I had to pick one of these, it would be Wonder Egg, just to see like what they do with
If
it.
I could pick one for Khantehnt, it would be Tomozaki-kun, just so we could yell about it.
Oh yeah,
every week.
that's fair. I guess that's true.
Month,
I mean, if we, depending on our schedule, we can squeeze in maybe a coverage of one of these. I don't know, later on or something.
I'll be curious to hear what the audience thinks. Let us know in the comments if any of these
Yeah.
shows you think you want to hear us talk about every month or so for the next 3 months.
Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. I remind you again, part 2 with all the other shows that we haven't covered will come in like 2 days. So relax, tuck yourself in, and check out some of this stuff in the meantime. Go check out SK8 and dab on Canada. With the
And
rest
check
of us
out
heroes.
Jack and Core and
Indeed.
Hiding in Public on their own channels linked
You
below.
know them, you love them. It's everybody's favorite 3 people. Those 3 individuals.
That's
It is
And
what it is.
give us money on subscribestar.com/Khantehnt. We're not going to give it to them, just for us.
Yeah, just for that.
Just for us. We've tolerated their presence. That's really
I'm
enough,
sorry,
I think.
I was purely coming onto this podcast under the assumption that I was being paid.
If you, for some
well,
reason, want to give
you'll have
money
to contact our
Core,
lawyer
make
about
sure to
that.
subscribe to my Patreon. He still won't get the money, but
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you in a couple more days with a couple more episodes. Go check out all these lads. They're a good bunch. See you soon. Bye. Yeah.